On track, now we going way up. W's as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up. Way up. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. On track, now we going way up. Now we going way up. Now we going. Keep the same energy.
Hey. Welcome, you guys. Another Boss Conversation with Janeah. Good evening. Happy Thursday evening. Thank you for all that are tuning in, all that are going to tune in. So I'm excited about this boss today because this is the youngest boss I've brought to the table. The youngest to step up to the plate and have a boss conversation with me. Even though I have a challenging boss that's going to come behind him, it's a little bit younger. But still, this is the youngest boss that I've talked to so far. I'm so excited to talk to him because he is our future. He is the youth. He is young. I want to hear about his ideas. I want to hear how he got to where he's gotten to this far. What are his future plans? So, without any further ado, I'm going to bring on my boss, Mr. Kendall Nichols. Hey,
Hi.
Kendall.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I want to thank you so much for coming on to the show. Thank you.
Oh, I'm just happy to be here, and I'm grateful for the opportunity.
All right. How you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling like I got a lot to talk about. I'm passionate, and I'm glad that someone recognizes what I can do or can be, and I'm just thankful
All
that's my
right.
cousin.
Let me get my book, you guys. I have my copy of his book. As soon as he put the first release out, I ordered my copy. So I got to make sure I get this energy up in me while I'm talking to him. I have my pages folded. I have my highlights and things in here. So yes, we're definitely going to get into this. I'm so proud of this young man. You ready to roll?
Born ready.
All right, let's get it. So let the people know, what is your name and what is your business, or what do you do, or what's your titles?
Okay, so hi, my name is Kendall Nichols. I'm 21. I'm a poet, and I have published my first official work, Modern Constellations. I am a spoken word artist. I am a written poet. I'm in a couple of our other journals as well. If you ask me to name them, I can't because I just remember writing them and just being so happy that I got into them.
Right.
But I'm just a writer who loves to express myself through words and make other people see things differently.
Cool. So how long have you been writing?
I would say the earliest time would be eighth grade. That's when my teacher really said, you have something a little different than normal. You mind like writing it out a little bit more?" And I said, "Yeah, of course."
Did you feel the same way? Did you feel like you had something special or different?
I just always felt that it wasn't. I just liked writing, and I thought it was normal to write as deep or as intricate or with as many different uses of the English language. But then when your teachers are like, "No, no one does that at your age," it's like, "Oh, thanks."
So when did you actually believe it or know that you had something special?
I think my junior year of high school, because in Chicago there's this event called Louder Than a Bomb, which is a spoken word competition, and I wrote a pretty nice piece, but a lot of people kept coming up to me and saying, "Oh, this is amazing. Can you send it to me? I love to like do something with it." And I said, "Okay, like it's just a normal piece." And I really thought about that. And so I went into my senior year, wrote another piece, and I made it all the way to the semifinals. And it was like, yeah, I think my teacher was right. I think that I should definitely keep writing and be creative with this.
Cool. Now, what's your first memory of writing a poem? Like, do you remember one of or the first time you wrote a poem?
I mean, I think the first time is for a lot of people, it's when your teacher makes you write a poem.
Right?
And I vividly remember mine. It was a limerick for Mother's Day to my mom. And it was just something very sweet, very generic, very basic. And the teacher was like, just make sure your mom knows she love you. And I had asked my mom, I was like, hey, do you still have that poem? She said, what poem? I said, okay, that's mine.
But did it make you feel some kind of way? Because most poets, their own work gives them certain kind of feelings, like, and you write from emotions. When you wrote that poem, did you feel the poem? Did you feel some kind of way, or did you just like write it as an assignment just to get it over with?
I mean, at that age, I think I just wrote it as an assignment, but definitely getting older and definitely when you have to write more with poetry, it's like, oh, I am really feeling what I'm saying. I'm getting an A on this, but I am really feeling like this A deserves to be a lot more than an A.
That's dope. That's dope. Now, what is your writing style, or do you have one, or do you have several?
I honestly love to play around with forms and different ideas of forms. I think that English is beautiful. I think that we can all tell stories through it. And so I try to weave in allegories, analogies, and just very intricate things into simple ideas as much as possible. And I like it to be very clever. I love wordplay. So oh, if I could find something that's clever, hits the point, and poignant all at the same time, oh, sign me up.
Man, look, going through your book, I'm just like, how did you come up with all of this stuff? Because it's not. I get it. What you just answered, because it's what I believe after looking in your book. You don't have one particular style, and just all the different little things that you have in here. Even like just opening it up, and I open it up to mansplaining. What is mansplaining?
Well, mansplaining from a man's perspective is mansplaining already. But as you know, I have three sisters. They were the oldest, and so you couldn't tell them anything. They knew everything already. They told you everything, and so I was like, oh, okay, I understood the assignment already. But having a lot of female friends, they're like, you're mansplaining, like to another friend in our group. And it's just sitting back and listening to their conversations, and it's always the same thing, and it's always so sad. Is what I interpreted from it, that someone else didn't truly understand, and because they didn't understand, they made up their own explanation. And so that's what I contribute mansplaining as, thinking you understand something when you don't, and you refuse to acknowledge that you don't understand the entire situation. And so in that poem, I talk a lot about beauty standards and how beauty standards were created by men to make women up to their standards, but not allowed women to have their own standards. And it's like you literally mansplained for centuries. And it's just crazy that people put up with it. And so I wrote the poem called Mansplaining. And a lot of my friends, female, male, it doesn't matter. They're like, oh, that's a good point. And I was like, thank you.
Man, so since we brought up the book, would you go ahead and introduce your book and tell us about it, a little bit about it?
Okay. So my first book, Modern Constellations, is a short story and poems book. It's like you said, very, very varied in its forms. There's some limericks, there's villanelles, there's haikus. It's just everything that I was taught for English that I've always wanted to explore. It's just my introduction to, let me tap my foot or put my foot in the water, and just me just dabbling with all these ideas. And the reason why I call it modern constellations is that back in, you know, 1500 BC, they had stars, and those were their signs. If the shooting star came while you made a wish, it meant something. Those stars are still there, but due to everything that's happened in the world, they just look a little different. So it's basically about interpreting the world in different ways and just being aware that it's always changing. And this is just the current view.
Okay, so let me ask you, do you have a favorite piece in your book?
I 100% do. And I will go to that right now. It is Trisha's thoughts on the season, because I wrote that with one of my best friends. It's right there on the end.
What page is that?
That is going to be page 79 on lesson 5. And I
Okay,
guess I should add that I broke it into lessons because I felt like life
right.
always gives us lessons when we're listening or when we're not listening, but they're always there. And it's for us to take the moment out of it and truly grasp it, which is why the short stories correlate to each life lesson. And the poems try to some degree, and that's why I have it separated like that.
All right. So this is your favorite piece. So can you read us some of it? A good piece of it, because it's nothing like hearing the actual author read it with the tones that it's supposed to give. So could you read a little bit of it to us and let the people who don't have a book hear a little bit of it?
I would be honored. So I'm just going to read you the first quarter to a half, if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah, go
So
for it.
this is Trisha's thoughts on the seasons. In the summer, I gave you jasmines, but you wanted roses. So I colored the petals with my blood and etched a crimson pattern. It looked a lot like roses, but then you changed your mind and asked for daisies. So I stood there with my wilted jasmines that looked like roses and searched for daisies instead. You wanted lilacs, so I waited for spring to come. Spring came, but you didn't come for me. When winter waltzed in, you wondered whether the weather would be good enough where you can wear what you wanted to, and I volunteered to be your windbreaker. The fall feebly fell through, following the failures of friendships, which led you to my door. And I'll stop there.
Ah, yes, yes, yes. I like this one too. Now, why again did you say that this is one of your favorites?
So I actually wrote this piece with one of my friends, Trisha, and
Okay.
so we were just playing around with the idea of a cyclical. I'm trying to say the cynical. No, it's a cycle type of pattern. I'm sorry, and the
Okay.
poem that usually coincide with them. So normally people will start off with beginning of the year and then work their way backwards. But we try to do it backwards. If we're on a school calendar, which we were, you end with summer and you start with fall. So we started with summer, went back through spring, winter, and fall. And we just examined someone's relationship, one of our personal relationships, and said this is basically what happened. And this is our thoughts for each season was varied depending on the person we were with. And it's just when we were done, I just stood back now and I said, this is a lot deeper than what I thought. I thought we were talking about flowers.
No, 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 no. So can you do me a favor and turn to page 28?
Yes.
What's that about? What's the title of that piece?
So page 28. If I was a rapper and wanted a banger, um, that's the name of the piece. And I
Yeah,
feel like you're gonna ask me why I went with that name of the piece and what it's about.
it's I think it's interesting because you guys, I don't know how well you guys can see this, but he gives you the steps, okay? And he goes 1 through 14, and there's actual steps. Is this a poetry style that you use to write this, or you just thought to write these steps in a poetic form?
I think it's definitely the latter. I chose to write it in a poetic form. And when I gave it to my editors, who were initially my friends, like my friend Trisha, who was one of my first editors, we both just burst out laughing because we knew what it meant, but it was just funny to see my take on it, and I
Right.
think that was just incredible.
Now, do you have any controversial pieces in here?
I mean, I think so. When my pastor asked me to recite a couple pieces for church, I said I don't know which ones would be the best, you know.
Okay, okay. So you have some that, well, that one definitely, like, you probably wouldn't want to recite that one in church. That's just not. Do you have any plans on writing another book?
That's a great question. I actually have written two other books, and well, here's what the plan was. I got my offer for this book in 2020, released in 2021. And right after I got my offer, I submitted my second book. And right around December of 2020, I heard back from a lot of people and like, oh, we're interested in publishing it. And it was like, cool. But then I just didn't like the evaluation they were giving it for me. So I said, I'm just going to sit on it. Let's see how the first book does. And then go back out there. Did that 2021. Didn't like, same thing happened. Didn't like the offers. And so I resubmitted it again. And now I am in talks with one publisher to make the second book. Fingers crossed that they meet my evaluations, because after seeing what I can do, I know my worth, and I was always taught to know your worth before you give it out. So
Man, you know how many now again, you guys, he stated his age first. So I'm, don't say nothing to me about saying his age. He's 21, and he is strong enough in his core values to know his worth and to know not to just take the first offer thrown out there. A lot of authors were their gems were stolen from them because of things like that, because they were just happy to have an offer. And sometimes those offers that they got jugged out of and cheated out of were the best works that they did. And then you'll have authors out here trying to chase that work. But I'm glad you know your worth. Stick to that. Stick to that. I'm glad you're raised by some good parents. So I know that they taught you some good things. That's what's up. Now, are you in college?
yes, I am.
Okay. What college do you attend?
I currently attend University of Indianapolis.
Okay, cool. What's your major?
I am a secondary education major, concentration in history, and a minor in special education.
Y'all hear him. He's so smart. Your mom majored in special education, right?
Yes,
Was
ma'am.
she? Okay, yeah, yeah. She was very good with that. Yeah, I remember that. I'm like, yeah, okay. So that hits close to home. What are your goals after graduation?
I think first and foremost, I just want to create a legacy wherever I go into high school or school environment that encourages kids of all backgrounds to express themselves, not just
Oh, somebody must have called his phone. I'm like, what are you looking at? He got stuck. I think somebody called his phone, you guys. But welcome to Boss Conversations. Thank you guys for tuning in. I think this is a good, well needed conversation because we need to hear about kids from our area, the Chicagoland area, 21-year-old that has his head on his shoulders, that is very well spoken. This is the type of thing that we need to see, that we need to share, that we need to hear. This man has dreams. He's 21 years old. He's already authored a book. Really, he's written 3 books, only one published so far. But it is good. I'm so glad to have him come on. I hope he can get back on. I don't know if his phone died. All right, he's back, you guys. All right. I can't hear you though. I had to have you. Oh, you guys, we were on a good roll. I definitely wanted to hear his plans. I'm gonna let him come back in though. Sometimes the technology gets a little janky. Um, so hopefully when he comes back in, we'll get the end of that. As you guys, again, Modern Constellations, that's the name of his book. His name is Kendall Nichols, author Kendall Nichols. You can find his book on Amazon Prime.
okay. I think I'm back.
Yes, you are. All right.
I am very sorry. That was my mom calling me when the interview was, and I was like, it's kind of now.
Right. This
So
always. All
I
right.
am very
So
sorry.
you can continue. She could still watch the playback on YouTube. It'll be dropped on there. Um,
Okay.
okay, so go ahead and finish up on what your plans were for after graduation.
I plan on just leaving a legacy at a school and encouraging students to express themselves in a positive manner and that all forms of life. And just seeing how I did it artistically shocked, I believe, me, but also my family, because I am not the biggest person on sharing information, especially something as personal as poetry. Because one of my biggest fears, I don't get scared a lot. I'm telling you, I don't, right? But with something such as works of art, you can't just go back and erase it. It is printed, it is permanent, and someone can find something of what you said, and it's no going back. And that is amazing. You have to stand by what you say.
Yeah. And poetry is very personal. So for a poet to be able to put their work out there like that, it takes a lot of guts because a lot of it is very personal. So, you have to get vulnerable sometimes to even get in the space to write what you write, or you are vulnerable, so you write what you write. And to share that, it does take courage. So, shout out to you for that. I'm proud of you for that. You guys, again, y'all know I try not to talk about how I know my bosses until we get into the conversation because I'm honoring this boss as the author and the poet that he is, but he's my little cousin, more like a nephew, really. His father and I are first cousins. And so I've watched him since he was a baby grow up, and I can't even believe he's 21. Okay. So I am super proud of him. I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud to highlight the young bosses in my family, all of the bosses in my family, but the generations to come. I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of you. You're so well spoken. You're so focused, and I'm glad that you're so confident in your work. Even when I shout out to him, you guys, and I said, "Hey, do you need your questions ahead of time?" And he's like, "No." I'm Johnny on the spot, okay? I'm Johnny on the spot. And that screams confidence. And I love that. I love that. So shout out to you for that. So where do you see Kendall the author and Kendall the poet in 5 years?
Well, I think I want to take a step of what I'm currently doing. So tomorrow, I'm going back to my old school. I went to Kenwood, graduated there. I'm actually doing a speaking event, and it's so cool that I get to go back to where I literally came from, and I can't wait to say it. This is the line I'm waiting for. I used to be in your seat, and I'm
Yes. Yes. So
and
you
I
got
really just
somebody
want to.
coming with you to record it?
No, I didn't even plan on thinking about recording it.
Oh man, try your best to see. What time are you going up there to speak?
I think 2:30.
Oh man, I hate I had to get your little cousin at that time because I would come on with you. See if you could find you somebody to come with you, because let me tell you something, Kendall. You got a long way to go, and you're going some places, right? And these are the type of things. Another reason why I wanted to do this interview with you, as we spoke before we came on air. You got a long way to go, and you going all the way up. So just like Kanye got all that footage for that documentary back when he was, before he was Kanye, before he was Ye. I want you to try to, if you can get somebody to tag along with you, just to record it so you can have that footage. Because again, how long have you waited for that seat, for that position? How long have you waited to say that? So I want you to try to make sure, even if you have to give it to a teacher or a faculty member, give them your phone and tell them to record it, because you need to be able to go back and look at that video and say, this was the first time I was able to say it. Now this the 10th time I'm saying it to you guys, because I'm coming back every year. I'm coming back every year, and I'm coming back. So I hope you can get you somebody. Right. You see what your dad said? I just had to make sure I left that up on the screen for a little bit longer. But he did, to his, he did say that he doesn't share as much. Now, you definitely should have been sharing that, and people, needed to know, because you got a lot of other, even some other family members that are alumni to that high school. But congratulations on that. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. Now,
Yeah.
when you get to speaking at school, another thing I want you to get footage of that is because, okay, so man, oh man, there's this thing called the money shot. You make sure when you're on that stage, after you speak, you take your camera and you hold it this way with the crowd behind you of all the students, and you get a selfie. You tell them to yell, you tell them to say, hey, whatever. You get a selfie because that will show that you just spoke in front of however many hundreds or thousands of people. And that is real leverage. Okay. You take that to other schools, and other schools will pay you $10,000, $5,000, $8,000, $20,000 to come speak. So, I got to always share my little nuggets, especially with someone as young as you. Make sure you get your money shot tomorrow. Please get your money shot. Anytime you speak in front of a crowd, always take a selfie with your crowd behind you so you can prove and show that you spoke to those many people. Okay. So even if you don't get that video, make sure you get your money shot because the money shot is leverage for you to use with your promotion packages as you go forward. And other schools will actually pay you to come and speak for them and speak for their youth. I'm so proud of you. That's so dope. All right.
Thank you.
So right now, today, what is the most important thing in life to you?
I would say definitely just, oh, I'm good on my feet, but
Yeah, I know. That's a
that's
good
a,
one.
the most important thing in my life is, I mean, I'll just give a cop out answers. It's always gonna be family. Like,
You're gonna
I,
get a cop out answer. It's family,
because
but no, that is good.
I feel that where I'm going to tomorrow, my old school, that was my family for a time. Where I'm going to stay for free is with my family. And it's those connections that really bring people together and make you understand where you are and where you can go. And that's that love that it's hard to get from other places if you don't have a proper base. And I'm glad I have that. So to answer your question, family is the most important thing.
That's dope. That was a good answer. Look at you. You came on in with that one and you closed the deal. Love it. Now, how do you define success?
Here when I made the book, I told myself, I said my version of success is if someone in Alaska can buy this book. Okay. So my first week when I had my online website, kendallwrites.com, if I did not already say that, I got an order from Alaska. And I was so happy. I was like jumping up and down. I mean, I was in my dorm in college. So of course my neighbor was like, keep it down. I was like, doesn't matter. And I boxed everything up. I was ready to go in the mail. The next day, I get an email. Whoops, this was a mistake. My heart deflated so fast.
Life
And
lesson.
went through a lot of that for like a week. But fast forward 2 weeks later, apparently I got another email saying, hey, can I buy your book? And I was like, you don't have to ask me. You just go to my website and buy it. And the person said, oh, my friend accidentally bought your book, but I'm interested in it. Can I buy it? And I was like, yeah. And I said, if we're gonna do it this way, what's your address? I'll just send it to you. It was Alaska. So
Hey.
I inevitably sent a book out to Alaska. I just think that is crazy because stuff like this they're thousands of miles away. And I'm here in the Midwest.
But you see how a roller coaster that could be, but at the end of the day, it was still success. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? At the end of the day, because even though, your little balloon got popped, the little bubble got popped, that still was a nugget that got you to your goal, because if that person wouldn't have accidentally bought your book, the other person wouldn't have known about your book. So that is dope. I like that. I really like that. So let me hit you with another question. I only have a couple more. We're doing pretty good on our time. What are qualities of a successful business owner in your opinion?
I think qualities of a successful business owner would be hands down knowing your product. That's number one. Number two, knowing your worth and what you bring to any table. And number three, knowing what you have at your table. Because a table can be as small or as big as you want, but you need to know what's on it before you can add to it or take off of it. And I feel like if you have all three of those things, then uh, that's that's the quickest and easiest and most effective way to measure success.
That was a good answer. That was a great answer. Why should one buy your book? Why shouldn't they go and buy somebody else's poetry? What's so special about your book?
I would say buy all the books if you could, but if you could only buy one, you should buy mine. My
Okay.
rationale being that this is my introduction into the English world, into poetry. This is a form, a style you won't see anywhere, and I can make that claim. And I think once you read two poems, two lines, one poem, one line, or if you just read the dedication, you're like, oh, this is going to be different.
Yes.
This is going to be something that either I'm going to completely hate or completely love, or just I'm going to feel some way. And I want people to feel some way. That's what English, that's what writing, that's what stories, that's what poems, that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to make you feel some type of way. And I feel that a lot of poems and a lot of stories, they're good poems, but and good stories, but they don't necessarily make you feel any type of way other than, oh, that was
Right.
nice.
Right.
So
You heard him, Phil. He said, if I could say it, buy all the books. Okay. But that's dope. That's what a poet is. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to strike emotion and feelings. That's what your writing is supposed to do. Now you have a lot of poems on Kendall Writes on Instagram. Are those different poems from the book, or are some of those in here? Is that just because there a lot of those are a little more shorter inserts? Are they in the book, or they're just different writings?
so they are different writings. So originally I made it as a PR to get more publicity for my book, and it did that. Happy to say. And the person running it was one of my friends, and she has like an account that like 50,000 followers on like Twitter and Instagram and all that. And I was like, I absolutely, to my core, even though I was born in this generation, hate social media. I don't know how to attract people to it. I don't know how to make someone stay. And so I was like, hey, I want to get more out there. I want people to know that some writing like this does exist, because the people who do know I exist love and really do like the writing. So can you help me? She said, okay, cool. I like your writing, but if you want to attract more audiences, you have to make it more concise, make it readable, yeah, legible. I mean, I'm sorry, and just make sure you can hit a wide range of audiences. And so so initially when we first launched, it was like 200 likes, 300 likes. Unfortunately, she had to step away and focus on her brand. And I said, okay, cool. Let me try to run this. And I've been trying. So the last 3 weeks or so, I've been doing it. And I'm still asking, like, hey, am I doing this right? So it is definitely different pieces, not from this book. There's a couple snippets from future books, the two I wrote before, but
Okay.
it's not like chapters or anything like that.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I was going through it a couple of weeks ago, and again, you don't share anything with anybody. You don't, one of the ways that you could get those type of things to grow is by letting your family members know, hey, I got this page over here. You guys go ahead and follow it. I don't know why I typed your name. I was just trying to see if you had an Instagram to tag you on your flyer. And I was like, he's got all these poems on here. Like, I don't ever remember him telling us about these poems or anything like that. So, yeah, one of the ways, you could just let some people know. And for those of you guys that are viewing, what I'm going to ask him next is where to find all this stuff so he can guide you to it. And I'll come back later and put all of his tags in here so you guys can one click find him, his Instagram tag and all that good stuff, as well as how to order his book. So, with that being said, the next question, can you go ahead and let everybody know how they can find you and your works?
Okay, so if you want like to find my book and who I am, you can go to my website. It's kendallwrites.com, Kendall WRITES.com. And it has my book up there. And I think it has like two quotes I maybe said. And it's very, very basic. It's just an ordering page, and it's
Okay.
just to get the word out there for my book. But if you want to find me on my social media, I have a Instagram handle of Kendall Writes 55, and that is what our lovely host has been saying so far, where you can find a lot of my other shorter snippets and just peeks into poetry. That is Instagram. And then if you're feeling adventurous, feeling a little bold, want to hear my hot takes of the day or something like that, feeling a little spicy, picante. I'm a little bilingual, so watch out. If you're a little picante, you can go to my Twitter. It's Kendall, my name, underscore spare two. No,
Oh,
just Kendall underscore spare. Sorry.
that's where you get spicy and jiggy. That's where you get all spicy on Twitter.
A little picante, yeah. I
A
throw
little
it in there.
picante, muy picante. Okay, so
Uh,
now you don't know how to work social media, but you know how to work Twitter.
I see a lot of people do it. You just type what you feel. A lot of times I don't get likes, but I know people are watching because every now and then I get a DM from another author or another poet, like, I like what you said. And I respond, if you like it, you should like it because that might start a trend. You can help me out. And like, no thanks. And it's like, okay.
It is amazing how much people will watch your stuff and they just won't like it. I just don't understand it. Kendall, I've had so many people that tell me, like, I saw this conversation or that conversation. I'm like, out of my 5 likes, you weren't one of them. It's interesting. Look, you guys, us creatives like our stuff, share our stuff, like our stuff. And again, that's why I say you really need to let your family know about things that you're doing because the family, I do have some family members that have been rocking with me solid ever since I started Boss Conversations, and they share stuff and they send bosses my way and things like that. So let us know so we can kind of share, especially whenever you get the right deal. Because I'm not going to say if, I'm going to say when you get the right deal for this next book. Again, let us all know so we can all buy it and get it. I think it was your dad that did a good job with letting us know about your book. I don't think it was you. It was either
It
him
was
or
not me.
Diana that let us know about your book. And we all, I know I jumped straight on and went and bought it. I didn't even know what it was about. I didn't even care. I had no idea. I was like, Modern Constellations. Is he writing about the stars? I really thought you. I was like, oh my God, it's gonna be a whole book about the stars. I'm not gonna know what's going on. But when I got it,
People actually said
I
that
was
too.
pleasantly surprised. Pleasantly surprised. So good job. Good job. So, do you have any last gems or nuggets to drop on the people before we get up out of here?
Any final words or
Yes.
any
Any
last
final
gems?
words?
Just that you should keep tuning into Boss Conversations because it's a really great program. And I, as a fellow creative, need to do a better job because I am one of those people who will watch things and be like, I like that. That's an internal like
Yeah,
right
you
there.
weren't
That's
one
an
of my
internal
5
share.
likes either.
Yeah, that's why I gotta do a better job because I do have a lot of friends who are artists as well. And like I said, I do the internal like and internal share, but I need to start doing it more because I really do want to show people like, oh, this person is dope. I like them. I think I have great taste. Correction. I know I have great taste. You can like them too. And if you don't, that's a little sketchy. But
Yeah.
honestly, if I had any final words, it would just be um, take take your risk, find what makes you happy, find your passion, and make sure you put time and effort into it. And that's actually what I'm talking about tomorrow at Kenwood. It's a writing session, and I want them to be creative, and I want them to think about what their passions are. And hey, it's a lot of hard work, but if you're passionate for it, you will do what you have to do to make sure that you get what you want and get what you deserve, so
Yes.
that you can also say, I was in those seats. And I just think that's so cool.
I know, I know. I really hope you're able to capture that. Well, even if you don't, somebody's going to capture it because, it's always something being recorded all the time. But I think that's dope. You're only 21. You're still so young, and to be able to go back and say that this early in the game is a game changer. You know what I'm saying? It really is a game changer. Just before we go real quick, did you think you would be saying those words this early in the game?
I mean, a boy can dream. If we're being completely honest, here was my idea. I was like, I got my offer, book was coming out. I was thinking, you know what? The Sun-Times, Tribune, every local paper is going to want to cover a black kid writing poetry who's taking a very aggressive and new look on life. And I was like, I'm going to sell out. I'm going to do a book tour. I am going to not be in college anymore. If I do, it is part-time because I am too busy. I am flying over here to talk to Oprah next. I don't really have time for this assignment. But alas, that is not how life goes. It's nice to think that way, but I'm still here. And I'm very fortunate to be where I am, regardless of any situation.
Yeah. Well, great job. Great job. Great interview. Thank you so much for coming on. Again, I'm super proud of you. I am grateful that you took the time out to have a boss conversation with me. Remember, at 21, you were a boss at 20. You're still a boss at 21, and you're going to wear many boss hats. Keep following your passion, because as long as you follow your passion, it won't never feel like work. It'll
Amen.
always feel good. And I'm sure you'll figure out how to phase all of that into your career once you're done with college. And so I just want to, I just want you to know you graduate in another year. And I definitely want to come back and check with you in a couple years and see where you're at and what's going on. You are welcome to come back to the platform once you get your other book out there and publish it, and we could talk about it and we could do this again. You're more than welcome to do it. You have no limits as to how much you could come on my show, cuz. So again, we do want to see young black men out here doing what you're doing. So you could come on this platform whenever you want, even if we just got to come on and promote something. You have an open invitation, okay?
Thank you. That means a lot, honestly.
Oh, you're welcome. And so that's it. We're out. I'm going to go ahead and clock you on off. Thank you so much for coming on. I love you so much.
Thank you.
All right, you guys. It's been another one, and that was a good one. Very inspirational, in my opinion. Very inspiring. Thank you guys for tuning in. Yeah, we do need more. We need more. We need more. And he just motivated me to go seek out some more young bosses, like some more of these young bosses. I have another super dope young boss that I'm going to be bringing on, and she's still in high school. But when I say she's dope, she's so dope. And I can't help but to highlight how dope she is. So you guys keep tuning in. Remember, Kendall is the last boss that I'm doing live like this on Facebook and YouTube. So you guys, please go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Capital JANEAHD 23, Janeah D23. That is my YouTube handle. Boss Conversations is a channel. You guys go subscribe. All of my socials, the link is in the bio. You could just click the link and go ahead and subscribe. If you want to catch him on a replay, share it, send it to anybody. This will be dropped onto YouTube. And thank you again for tuning in, you guys. I definitely appreciate it.
On track, now we gon' way up. Don't be used as easy as a layup. Working late, stay up, stay up. Counting all the way up. Counting blessings, yeah, you know we pray up, way up, pray up. On track, now we gon' way up, way up. Now we gon' way up, now we going. On track, now we gon' way up, way up. Now we gon' way up, now we going. Keep the same energy. Work on being better.